Joe Groves, this is from a couple of weeks ago, asked, when did the kilt become recognized as a Scottish symbol? And when did Lowlanders start wearing kilts?
I think it was always recognized as a Scottish symbol, at least a highland symbol. Lowlanders were... You're the history guy, not me, so I'm going to give it to you. Yes, I see you staring at me, just like, screw this up. Go ahead, Rock. Go ahead. Nope.
I'm waiting.
Nope.
I'm waiting.
Taking the foot out of the bear trap on that one.
There's never an easy answer for this kind of thing, but in some ways this is an easier answer than for a lot of similar questions. Tartan has always been associated with Celtic culture, even going back to Roman times. There's actually a Roman statue of an emperor coming home from the wars, and he's got a prisoner behind him, and the prisoner was carved wearing tartan pants. Okay,
yeah, the mosaic of
yes, the mosaic of the tartan.
Yep.
So, and I think that statue's in Spain or something. But so tartan plaid, to use a colloquial term, a very generic term, goes back a long way. What we consider tartan has been associated with the Highlanders for a long, long time. The earliest records of it that we have, in some ways, go back as far as the earliest records we have of kilts. So meaning one or two images from the 16th century, definitely 17th century. The symbol thing, though, is very much a 19th century thing. Tartan didn't really become a symbol of the nation of Scotland, as opposed to just the Highlanders and clan society, until Scotland started to kind of resurface culturally from the damage and the lag time resultant from the proscriptions after the 45. So essentially the watershed event for that was when King George IV visited Scotland in 1822.
And all his royal plumage.
Yes. We actually have a video coming up on this, so no spoilers. But essentially, Sir Walter Scott, the various Highland societies and Celtic societies that had been working behind the scenes from the end of the 18th century into the early 19th century, had been trying to get Scottish culture boosted on the world stage for a long time. And then when George came to Edinburgh and put on Highland garb, which he spent a considerable amount of money on, by the way, he kind of cemented what became called Highlandism, which is basically Highland dress and Highland customs and native Scottish culture and Highland culture especially becoming fashionable and becoming cool. And that meant that it just took off like a shot. So 1822 was kind of the watershed event. And from at that point, you had a lot of Lowlanders who traditionally had kind of looked down their noses at Highlanders as kind of country bumpkins. All of a sudden, they wanted to be Highlanders too. And that's when tartan started to become a truly national emblem of the nation as a whole.
I'm kind of picturing the Homer Simpson backing into the hedges and coming back out in the full tartan garb.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Kinda.
This is what the cool kids are doing. Yeah, we've always loved tartan. Sure.
Yep. Yep. And not coincidentally, that's when you started to see clan lords getting into the idea of having a clan-related tartan also. There had been instances of clans having a certain tartan for the livery for their servants before that, but when this happened, it was kind of like, oh yeah, we need something to wear for the big event.
This is a family symbol. Yeah. Now it's
because there was a huge parade of the clans. All these clan chiefs came and presented themselves before the king, and so they all needed something to wear. And so that's where a lot of that started.
We're gonna all show up like a team, and we all need.
Exactly.
Well, they have their own thing now. We need ours too. So it kind of snowballs. It's the peacock thing. We can't be outstaged. We got to keep up with the Joneses.
Yep. Yep. That's basically in a nutshell, a very small nutshell. Tartan has always been there, but as a national symbol, it definitely took off after 1822.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, because of an English king. Well, a British king, British monarch, but an English dude.
Through the mists of time, tartan has always been there.
And we've definitely, like I said, we're doing a video, and we will definitely talk about George a bit, but mostly about Sir Walter Scott.
Yeah, it's
kind of how he did a lot to make this happen.
Yeah, it's interesting how it kind of started as a. There's so many different theories, half-truths, like misty, murky beginnings to it. Then all of a sudden, like there's an event where it's kind of like, hallelujah, and it just boom, there it is. But before that, it was a thing, but it was kind of like poo-pooed. But now it's like, now we want to know about it, and it's kind of lost a little bit.
Yep.
So,
I think things happen because people have a need for them.
Yeah.
And I think that's basically what happened. So.
and I would also say that, to some degree, thank God it did, because if it didn't, it would have probably just gone away.
That was
so it cemented it as this is now a real thing. We do this.
Exactly. Not to have too many spoilers for my video, but that was basically Sir Walter Scott, when he was writing. Part of his ethos was that he was trying to preserve a vision of a culture that he saw going extinct, because the Anglicization of Scotland was getting so thick when he was growing up in the late 18th century. It seemed like Scottish culture was going to just disappear completely. And he didn't want that to happen. So that's why he started writing the books he wrote and the poems he wrote and everything. So, yeah. I give him a lot of props, I really do. He gets a bad rep sometimes, but personally, he's a hero of mine.